Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here, here I have another episode of episode 18 of DoorDash, where we're going to be talking this time. It is time for delivery customers or DoorDash customer, uh, Eats customer to reshape delivery app. And I think right now is the perfect time to talk on this particular topic. And do apologize because it is starting to get to a point where not just the drivers talking about the unfair pay, the no tip, no delivery, but right now customers start talking about it. See, the battle on a large scale that's starting to develop between the customer and the driver. Eventually, customers will realize that driver is not the problem. Driver was actually just put in a position and forced to do what drivers are doing and picking and choosing because the app companies are the one that forcing the driver to behave that way. And then this war that's developed between the driver and the customer will actually turn around and will actually go after the company. If you really look at the history, um, we see that usually it all ends with a strike or something similar to that. If you look at in our situation today, customer is the one with the money. If customer stops paying, placing orders, we have no deliveries, and these apps have no business and no income. I do understand the company because of my background, and I understand their situation, but it's the greed that's creating the problem because DoorDash wants to become household brand. And in order to become a household brand, that means every customer in the country, every person living in the country has at least to try DoorDash once. But one thing that DoorDash is not realizing, if they want every customer to try their service, first of all, they need to get rid of the 18% F fee or 16% web fee. I believe I covered that in the first one, two, or three episodes of that, where I actually gave recommendations to the DoorDash what they need to do. And I hope DoorDash listen because today they need to start not just listening and doing the recommendation. Right now, they need to actually have their own system where they're not where it doesn't cost them a fortune to a third party. Because end of the day, they're not an app if they're using third party services to run their app. So let's actually begin. And I want to actually uh, we can start here. Not sure where, which state, which city, which town. All we know we here see is the McDonald's. And if you guys look at the picture, because first of all, I thought this is a reflection, but you have bags under the table. You have bags on the table. This table is plastic. Then you have more bags here on this wooden counter and a steel counter. And I thought this is right here is a reflection, but no, look at that. There is more tables, which actually right now fall into the area where normally people would eat, is to the lobby, and we have more bags right there. That's a lot of bags. Now, two situations that we could actually develop this much of bags. Either this McDonald's is busy like there is no others, and probably the only spot in town with a lot of people, or two, they have this is a collection of all day long of delivery that still has not been delivered. Based on my experience of about 800, about 900 deliveries, because I do also have one other app that I ran. Actually, almost 1,000 deliveries, slightly under 1,000 deliveries. I'll tell you this. I seen where food sometime will sit on a shelf 2 to 3 hours, with a no tip situation before it actually get picked up. So we might actually see here is a 3 hours worth of bags that has not been picked up yet. I kind of wonder, does the restaurant know? Does it show in their app which of these food are no tip food or no tip order? Because that would be interesting. If the restaurant knew which one is not a no tip order, probably don't make it in your first half hour. I don't know. But then safety, as I mentioned in the previous video, the safety is a big question because when you have these hamburgers with tomato, cucumber, mayo, ketchup, onion, all of that actually sitting on a sandwich, for how long can that actually sandwich sit at a room temperature? Because we don't see here any coolers in a room temperature before that sandwich actually becomes threatening to human life if it's consumed. But I'm here want to actually cover something else. And first of all, I want to say thanks to first of all, I seen this video first at Reddit, but then I clicked on another post and I couldn't find it again. So I want to say thanks to UDM for actually catching this and actually making something out of it. Second, I want to say thank you UDM for actually removing all those unfiltered words so this can actually be presentable to general public. I will be playing right off of UDM's page, and if you guys want to actually see UDM, it's UDM on YouTube. This is actually a second video that I seen his roundtable talking about a tip, and today he's actually we're touching on a tip again, and that's actually something I want to talk about in this video. But let's first watch watch this video first. Here we
So
go.
remember how we said, as dashers, we don't have to take your order. We can pick and choose which orders we want to take. So if you don't tip us, we don't have to take your order. And remember in the video where I said, when you don't tip, your order just sits there. So yeah, just putting that out there. That was not a lie. There's a whole section dedicated to people who don't tip, and their order just sits there until a dasher decides that they want to take the order. So once again, just letting it be known, you don't have to tip. You're not obligated to tip. We also are not obligated to take your order because we are independent contractors who did not work for DoorDash, the company. We're our own bosses. So just keep that in mind.
So as you guys see in this video, she's actually presenting the image that I actually showed you guys how seriously this becoming a problem. But here's a following video of a customer responding to this video. And I agree, we are independent contractors, we pick and choose. And unfortunately, DoorDash has put us in a situation where we have to choose. My personal opinion, a tip or a gratitude is something, it's an appreciation for your efforts, which should be paid on a top of standard pay. But what if that standard pay is so low or equal to zero or equal to that you have to volunteer to do that delivery, then you're no longer using that tip as a appreciation. You're using that tip as a compensation to the lack of pay. And this is where actually our problem starts. We're using the tip as a compensation. DoorDash put us in a situation where we have no choice but to use the tip as a compensation instead of taking it as appreciation. Let's continue.
Okay, that was the dasher trying to explain about, hey, you're not obligated to tip. but we're not obligated to picking up your order either. You know. Now, this is the customer's
This is
response.
why I really don't with DoorDash or Uber Eats because they be fucking up my orders anyway. What the young girl is saying on this video is basically if you don't add the tip to the service, they don't have to pick up your food and give your pretty much because they independent contractors. First of all, tipping is a satisfactory service. That means if I'm satisfied with how you bring me my motherfucking food, then I'm going to tip your period. No one is obligated to give you a tip when they don't even know how they're going to receive their food. When I'm at a restaurant, I don't tip the waitress before the service. I tip the waitress after the service because I need to know and I need to see how you perform your service and if I'm satisfied with the service. And I don't like the way that DoorDash and Uber Eats set that shit up where they want you to tip first. Because baby, one time that happened to me and a girl sent me my food and Sprite was all over my food. What?
Okay.
Hey, appreciated UDM for the videos. There'll be actually some text messages. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go there, but I want to actually get back to. Let me see. And there's something else that I want to. But I want to get back to the image and this part where the customer responded. And I'll take my personal how I treat it when I'm actually go to the restaurant. I don't pay the tip up front. I know there's a food cost, and I'll have to pay for that food cost. I also know I'll have to pay a tip. When I'm walking into a restaurant, I immediately set myself a 10%. That is actually my starting point. I am somewhat a little picky when it comes down to certain parts at the restaurant. First of all, cleanliness. So, is the table actually clean? That will actually consider will she get another percent added to her 10%? I'll also, when I order a drink, I usually order drink with a little ice. So, will they bring actually my drink with a little ice or full cup of ice? If it's a little ice as I ordered, there's another 1, 2, or 3%. When I place my food order, well, the food order actually come as I suspected or not. You know, throughout my stay at the restaurant, it's always a plus or a minus. Usually, my average tips is roughly around 15 to 20%. But I have been in situations where I left zero tip because that server did not deserve for whatever reason. If a server has problems, hey, leave them outside of your job. Don't bring them to your job because if you bring them to your job, uh, your tips will be reflecting to that. Now, we're going to take that concept to DoorDash. As I mentioned in the beginning of that video, I believe that tip slash gratitude, whatever, however we want to call it, is an appreciation. It's an icing on the cake. It's something that a person takes it away from them, from his family. It's his money. He takes it away from his family and says, you know what? I'm extra thankful for your service. Now, does that mean we need to deliver for free until that customer becomes appreciated? Because at that point, it's no longer, we're no longer accepting it as appreciation, as that icing on that cake. We're taking it as a cake. The cake is actually the delivery fee, the fee where it actually be worthwhile for us to deliver. This regardless, is there an icing on a cake? Is there this regardless there's any appreciation on top of that? And this is where the problem starts. We're not getting that cake. We're not getting that delivery fee that would be actually worth us to deliver. So we start searching and demanding for that icing so that icing can become the cake. because we're at this point okay to deliver for that fee that includes the tip, because the tip becomes the cake and there's no more icing on that cake. Now, if you guys look back, and I'm going to actually hopefully click back, 292,000 people has watched this video or has liked this video. 44,000 has responded and comment. What I'm calling this is a beginning, a recognition in general public. Where is the problem coming? But see, first they have first when you go blind and you start poking around with your eyes closed, you come around the person that is closest to you, and we are the closest to the customer as a driver. So right now they're saying, hey, it's your fault. You should be taking our orders. You should be delivering our orders. You shouldn't be choosing our order. Our order should be hot, and if it arrives hot, then we'll actually pay you a tip. Customer, I appreciate your tip, but there's a problem. Your tip should be an icing, but we're missing the cake. Now, as the battle starts between us, the customers, and we as drivers start communicating in this chat, because DoorDash doesn't allow us to communicate with the customers about the truth and the tip. So we're taking it somewhere else, this battle, to the web. And eventually, the customer going to realize that there's a cake that's missing. That the 18% of a service fee that DoorDash charged has nothing to do with us as drivers. It's to take care of stuff that DoorDash should have taken care of a long, long time ago with their app. I do apologize if I get passionate about this. And eventually, hopefully it comes sooner than later, customer will realize that the battle is not the driver. That we as drivers and customers, we will unite. One day the battle will end between the customer and the driver, and we will turn around against those app companies. And two things will happen. Either companies will change, or another company will rise and take their position. Now, what I believe it needs to start. The minute when customers start realizing we as drivers are not the reason of what's happening, we are forced and put in a position to hunt for those tip deliveries instead of delivering everything that deserves to be delivered. Customers is the most powerful thing in the business. If they close their hand and stop placing orders and stop buying, stop letting go of their money, businesses start squealing, and when they're squealing, they have no choice but to listen or close their doors. That's where customers need to choose a day and say, on this day, we'll send a message to DoorDash, Uber Eats, and other apps and say, hey, either you change or we will take a business somewhere else. There's a nice app that actually launched in Tampa, Florida, and actually that app can replace any of these food delivery companies in a heartbeat, going national. They're ready. The only thing is they need customer base across the country. They need restaurants that actually will join the platform, and drivers to fulfill those deliveries across the country. And I think that switch can quickly happen. So DoorDash, if you're listening, your verdict is about to be written, because customers soon will join us. They will realize we are not the problem. Now, to a closure, the delivery fee has to be reasonable and fair so the drivers can start taking those deliveries that are reasonable and fair. And then the icing on the cake can take its position as it originally was designed to be appreciation. I personally believe as a tip is something that I tear away from myself to share with someone that actually provided service to me so we can all both at the end of the day be equal. It's not about, oh, I'm the boss, you're the server, you're in the service industry, we kick you around. See, sometimes that's what's actually, oh, yuck. He's he's a server, you know? I'm the middle class, I'm the top class. No, the tip is something that you break away from yourself to share with someone else so we can become equal. That's what I believe. Now, do drivers feel equal with you? Do most of these drivers feel like they're in the middle class with you? No. What you're tearing away from yourself is not the icing that should be. It's to fill the void that's created by the apps. They do want to become the household brand at the price of a driver, at the price of a customer. How many customers willing to pay $20 tip and are paying $20 tip, but still getting a $3 service? Because these apps do, I wouldn't say they don't care, but they got so greedy, and that's where I believe tips should be handled by a third party that has nothing to do with the app provider, nothing to do with the restaurant. So the app provider and the restaurant would never know how big of the icing was on the cake. So the restaurant and the app could figure out a way to make sure that we do get a decent cake. See, when they see our tip, they get greedy and they want to replace the icing, that icing, and put it in the place of a cake. When we remove that equation where they no longer know how much, they'll have no choice but to replace and return us back the cake that is deserved. I do appreciate every single one of you for watching. Please like, subscribe, click the bell, and I'll be back with more video. Let's put it this way. Please like this video and subscribe so I can have another video for you. Be blessed.